Hello. Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday Night Live. My name is Betty Sakosha, and I'm independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, in Massachusetts specifically. And I am trying to see if I'm live. I am. Terrific. It is unclear to me. Okay. So I'm on a little bit early, like a minute or two early, which for me is super early, because some of you were saying that you were having a hard time finding me. So some said, perhaps you should go on a little early and then we can find you. So hopefully some of you have found me. The problem is that I cannot see if there are comments because we get this little, you can give me stars, but I can't see your comments. So I'm trying to watch with two devices right now. So maybe I'll be able to do it this way. Okay, hopefully this will work. So please, Melanie's here and Marie's here, terrific. So at least several people found me, so that is good news. I was not here last week because I had a lot on my plate last week, and so I couldn't be here. But I'm back. And the week before I did a video, and then I somehow deleted it, or it got deleted. I suspect it was my fault. In any case, I may try and reshoot that one because it had to do with carrots, the new carrot stamp set, and that is available for another month during Celebration. And it's a super cute stamp set, but I just wanted to show you the versatility and how you don't have to use anything with carrots on it, and it's still a great stamp set to have. So, Jody, good to see you. Pat! Oh, great to see you. I think Pat is tuning in from Florida, so I am super duper jealous because it's winter. Oh, we can't complain. It's not really cold. It's getting cold, but it's not really cold. And in New England, I shouldn't complain, right? I should not complain. In any case, what I'm here to share with you tonight is a new bundle in the new mini catalog, which goes until the end of April. Actually, I believe it goes till about May 1st. And there's a new bundle that I'm going to be featuring in an upcoming class that I have at the end of the month, and sign-ups are by the 10th of the month. So I wanted to give you an idea of some of the things in the bundle and some things that you can do with it. And I'm going to start super easy, and then I'm going to show you some other things that you can do with it. Okay, so let me flip you down and chat. Easier said than done for me. Okay, 1, 2, 3, flip. Okay, perfect. All right, there's my cord. If you could see the top of my cord, I think that, I don't know, the good folks at Apple, they're, the way that they make cords, well, let's just say they need replacing quite often. Anyway, I have enough power, I think, to get me through, so that's great. So if you're interested in getting in touch with me, here is my information, Betty Sakosha, bettyboop.stampinup.net, and you can find me at booptique.wordpress.com. Let me leave that up there. What I'm talking about tonight is from the mini catalog. If you do not have a mini catalog and would like one, please get in touch with me, and I promise that I will get one to you. They are, it is good from now till the end of April, or actually May 1st. So what I'm talking about today is the Seaside Bundle. So that could be found by the Bay. It is found on page 22 of your catalog. You can find it right there on page 22 of the catalog. And it comes as an entire collection, which means if you want to purchase the whole thing, you get the stamp set, the dies, the ribbon, the, what are we calling these? Flat adhesive backed pearls, and the paper. So you get that whole big collection for $87. You can also purchase the stamp set and the dies together as a bundle, and that is $54. So I wanted to show you some ideas with this. I was able to see this at when we went to our on stage, which was a little convention that Stampin' Up! Does. And I saw this back in November, and I knew right away that anybody born in Rhode Island, grew up in Massachusetts, absolutely needed this stamp set. Look at that. So let me bring it in and show you what I've got here. All right, so the stamp set, this is the stamp set here. Comes with a couple of greetings and some really, really beautiful, they're distinctive stamps, so they you know, they kind of had shadowing in them, but some really, really pretty stamps. Not exactly sure what kind of bird this is. I do like birds, but I don't know. I'm going to go with, I'm totally blanking on what you call that. If you know what you kind of call that bird, let me know. I can see him running up and down the beach, but I cannot think of his name. Okay, this looks like a cochlear. I used to be an audiologist in an earlier lifetime, and that looks like your inner ear, or a shell. Here are some other shells, some more little birds that match that little bird, a crab. Who doesn't need a crab in a stamp set? Trust me, you do, because you can send a card that says, sorry, I was crabby, or, you seem a little crabby. Maybe this will make your day. This looks like some kind of shell. I don't know, an oyster. And then a shell, pearl and a shell, as well as some sand. And that kind of shell. Conch shell, I think that's called. And then two greetings. Heartfelt sympathy, because this does make some really, really pretty soft-looking sympathy cards, as well as thank you for everything. There's also this saying, you are a pearl, rare and precious, that I have not determined who I would actually send that card to. But if I come up with them, if you get it in the mail from me, you'll know you're special, because I don't know who else I would send that to. And actually there's a pearl down here as well. And you can see kind of the distinctive look of it where it kind of has shading in it. Oh, and this is someone's someone's $1 million stamp set. Oh, well, good for her. Susan Elise Morton was in $1 million, she sold $1 million worth of Stampin' Up! Products, and you get to help design a stamp set. And this is what she designed. She did well. I don't know where she's from, but she did well. So in addition to the stamps, you get all these dies, and I have not actually cut out all the parts for them, but I'm going to show you in some projects tonight the ones that I've cut out. So there's a lot of great things in here, and I'll show you as we go through the card. All right. What I really, really also wanted to point out, however, was this unbelievable paper. It is so pretty. So this paper is found in the catalog. It's 6x6 paper, and it's called By the Bay. Stampin' Up! Is trying something new where they're naming things one name and just putting like By the Bay paper, By the Bay sweet. Actually, I make that up because I think this stamp set is not called, is it called By the Bay? Seaside Bay. So they're close. They both have the word bay in them. In any case, here is, oh, I hit my computer. Now I can't see if there's comments. Okay, maybe I can. Okay, so here we go. Here is the paper. So we've got a lot of beautiful shades in this paper. Look at that one. Those crabs, I love them. Those have to be oysters, right? I'm pretty sure they're oysters. Some more shells. Some paper that, I don't know. It could be the beach at night, or it could be the beach in the day. Hard to say, right? Same thing here. Which is the beach? Which is the sky? You decide. All right, and then just some really pretty mint and balmy blue. That's the color. And then these beautiful birds, which can actually be cut out with the dies, these birds. And then this paper here, and then this beautiful, like, you know, kind of shiplappy type paper. Okay, watch this. Can you see that? every single one, I'm pretty sure every single one of these papers has a little bit of foil shine to it. So I'll show you each of them separate. This paper is so worth it. Oh my goodness, I love it. I love it, love it, love it. The problem is you're not sure which side you want to use. It's that pretty, right? It is that pretty. But the point is that not every piece necessarily screams beach, right? Like there's just these kind of random looks to them. So you can use it as a beachy look or you can use it as something else. So what I wanted to start with tonight is to show you a super simple technique using some designer series paper and coming up with a really simple card. So this idea could be used with any designer series paper. I'm using the By the Bay paper here, but certainly any paper would be fine. Now I've cut this paper at 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And it's because I'm going to add a little tiny layer behind it and then put it on your standard card size. You would not necessarily have to go with the 1/8 of inches because many people do not enjoy 1/8 of inches, and I get that. You could go with 4 by 5 1/4 and get a very similar look to your card. Okay, so this is this side, right? The side that looks kind of like shiplap. Look at this side. So it's got the crab and the bird and the shell and the pearl and the oyster shell and more shells, more crabs. It's beautiful. So now I'm going to take this paper that is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, and I'm going to cut it at 2 inches. And it doesn't, well, I should care. Yeah, I'm going to say 2 inches right here. Barbara Lash is here. Oh, it's great to see you, my friend, even though I can only see your name. Okay, so there we go. I think I'm done cutting. That was easy, right? So you can actually, now I cut my paper, you literally could tear your paper. Just get some way to tear it at 2 inches because we're going to cover the middle of it. So it sort of doesn't matter if it had a little tear line there. It would be just fine. But I cut it here. Now I'm going to have you help me design this card here. And I think, okay, basically this is how it's going to go. I'm not going to adhere anything down so you can help me make these decisions. But basically I'm using the opposite side of the paper for my card, right? So I've got the shells and the shiplap on here, or the shells and the shiplap. So you could go in either direction there. A plover. Joanne is telling me that it's a plover. I think you are absolutely right. Joanna would know. She would know these things. She thinks this bird is called a plover, and I think she is right. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp my bird. Now, you could do this whole basic idea, this whole layout of this card without actually cutting something out, but I am going to cut something out. So we're going to do our plover. It was kind of perfect timing there, Joanna, because I needed to know what the bird was. I'm going to take my soft suede shiplap shells. So shiplap shells, right? Is that what she's saying? What is the stamp set Barbara is asking? This is from the Seaside Bay. This one that I believe everybody in Massachusetts and Rhode Island is required to own. I love this stamp set. Okay, so I'm going to take my little bird and I'm stamping him in soft suede. My plover, pretty sure it's a plover. And now I'm going to take a marker. When's the last time you used your markers? Let me tell you about these markers. They come in all of the Stampin' Up! Colors, and there's 2 different sides to it. This little side here has this little teeny line, and that shows you that there's a little teeny tip, which is good for tiny detail stuff or writing a message. And then this side here has a bigger line, and then it's got a brush tip, and that's the side that I'm going to use. Now I've stamped this in soft suede. And now I'm going to take my marker, and I'm just using the side. Let me see if I could zoom in so you can see. So I'm just using the side of the marker. You want to be super careful to not use the tip of the marker, because then it will get mushed, and you won't be happy. Trust me. You won't be happy if you do it. You really won't be happy if somebody else does it to your marker. Okay, so I'm just covering in his, I'm coloring in by using the side of my marker, the his legs. And now I'm going to do his beak and just his eye. And then I'm just going to kind of drag it sort of along the side of the bird where his feathers are. Okay, so just a little bit of more detail on here. All right. And then I'm going to huff on it, which is just remoistening everything. And then you'll be able to see the detail there. So can you see how there's a little bit more, it's a little bit darker right around the edges there. It just kind of brings it to life a little bit more. All right, now I'm going to cut this out. I'm bringing in my baby boss. So if you're not familiar, Stampin' Up, well, we don't call it we call it a stamp, cut, and emboss machine. I call it a baby boss and a big boss. So this is my baby boss. This is only 3.5 inches wide, so it's perfect for little dies. It is less handy for larger things, but really handy because it doesn't take up a lot of room on my desk. Now, I recently saw a video by a demonstrator in Canada, Allison Slovin, who was talking about the sandwiches. A sandwich is the layers that you put your cutting plates through. And so this is a little bit different than what is recommended by Stampin' Up, but it seems to work, so I'm going with that. So it's layer number 3, and then a clear plate. Well, used to be clear. Now it's a loved plate. My plover. I'm just seeing now, but I can't see who actually said this message, but somebody is telling me that, oh, Barbara said her husband said he's an ornithologist. That must be someone who loves birds. And he said this is a sanderling. Okay, I will believe him. I don't know anything about birds. Well, I know I love birds. I just don't know what they are or what they sound like. Apparently there's an app, a free app you can get called Merlin that will tell you what birds sound like too as well. So maybe I'll look it up after this. Okay, so I'm using Post-it note tape. It's not inexpensive. You can buy it on Amazon and probably other places, but that's where I found it. But the good news is you don't need much of it and you can keep reusing it. And it's great if you want to cut out something detailed like this. I want to make sure that the die doesn't move and it stays right on his my little sanderling plover friend's feet. I need them to be right where they belong. Now I'm going to put the other part of the sandwich, the top of the sandwich, which is another clear plate. Now I'm reading about this bird. It has a ring almost completely around its neck. I gotta go look this bird up. Okay, I'm done with this, so I'm gonna move it right out of the way, but look at that. You could fussy cut it, but if you can fussy cut legs like that, more power to you. I'm not a fan of the fussy cut. I will do it, but only when necessary. So if I can get a die, I'm gonna get a die. Okay, let's get this thing put together, and then you can decide where you want where the parts should go. So I'm gonna bring in, this is a 3/4 inch white strip. You will end up with a lot of these kinds of strips just in your life if you do Stampin' Up, because you'll end up cutting paper, and that is a size that is often left available for you. So I just keep these strips so I'm ready to go whenever I need it. Okay, I'm going to pull in my soft suede once again, and the words I'm going to use thank you for everything. This is a cling stamp, so it's a little bit difficult to see. Like you can't see through it. Here's hoping. Oh, that's pretty good. I'm pleased with that. I'll take that. Those words came out pretty straight. And I want to add just a little bit of the sand. So did I tell you there was sand I don't know if I told you, but I think it's sand. It's that. Blotchy blotchies, right? So I'm going to stamp that. This is crumb cake, and I'm just stamping off. I call this decaf when I stamp off, but it's just making it a little bit of a softer background, right? So it's a little bit of something on there, but not too much. Okay, let's get all of this out of arm's reach. And then I'm pulling in a piece that is 7/8 of an inch. I know. I apologize. But it is 7/8 of an inch. And that is so that my 3/4 of an inch will fit perfectly on that with just a little tiny border around the outside. All right, so this is going to go down like this. Like that. Okay, perfect. So let me give you a general idea of what the card's going to look like, and then you can tell me what you would like me to do, and I will do what you ask me to do. Okay, so this layer, this is Sahara Sand, and I got that color because I looked at the back of my designer series paper, and it told me what colors were in it, and Sahara Sand was one of them. It's a very similar color to crumb cake, but it's a little bit different. I would say it's got maybe a little bit of green in it, but I'm not a color expert. I don't really know, but that's what I would guess. Okay, and this is going on a piece of thick white cardstock that's been cut at 11 by 4 1/4 and scored at 5 1/2. All right, so now I can do, I think there was an opinion on this. I think Maureen had an opinion on this. I can do it like this. Okay, so here's how it's going to go with my little thank you breaking up, going right over the seam there. Okay, so I'm looking for opinions. And then my little plover star, I missed the name. What was it called? Starling? Sanderling? On here like that. Or I can do the opposite, which is my shiplap at the top and my little bit of shells and my little bird, this has a little bit of gold at the bottom of it, okay? So that's the only part of the card that has a little bit of gold in it. So you let me know which you prefer, and I will do whatever you tell me. Okay, shells at the top, Sandy said. I think that is also what Maureen said. Does anybody else have an opinion? Okay, someone says that they have to buy the stamp set, and the answer would be yes. Yes, you do. It is gorgeous, and the paper, unbelievable. Okay, so shells are going at the top. And I'm trying to get my crabs kind of going in the right direction. I guess crabs can go in any direction they want. If you've got claws, you can go any way you want, right? But I also wanted my bird going in the correct direction there. Okay, so now at the bottom, I'm going to put in my little shiplap layer. It's kind of like worn beech wood, I guess. Now this should line up exactly along the side here because I cut them from the same piece of paper. So they should be exactly the same size. And they just overlap a smidge because that's what I did. I could have abutted them to each other, but I did it that way. And then you can move this wherever you want. You can move it up a little bit higher. I don't like that so much because to me, it's almost breaking the card in half. And that's not a look that I enjoy. So I'm going to just move it a little bit on the lower side here. So I'm going to just move it down there. A little bit of adhesive. And then I'm going to pop my bird on with some dimensionals. And the card is nearly done. Okay, you know what, actually, what I'm going to do is, see these little legs? Remember these little legs that I didn't want to cut? I'm actually going to put some glue on the bottom of them. They're too small for dimensionals. They're too much work for me to cut up a dimensional to put on there. But I don't want the legs to kind of break off on the card. Like, I don't want them to flop up. So what I'm going to do is just squish my little glue down there And then he's on with dimensional. So I'll hold you up. I don't know if you get the sense, but he's sticking up, but his little legs are attached to the card so that they don't get bent, because we don't need any. We don't need that, right? Okay, and now I'm going to attach the whole thing to my card front. Alrighty, perfect. Easy peasy, right? So easy. Okay, so that's that. Now I'm going to show you a different version of the same card. Well, it's not a different version of the same card. It's just a different card, same set. Okay, so let me get that out of the way. And let me bring in, oh, let me show you the opposite. Because I previously made one, and I wasn't sure what I liked, so I did the opposite on this one here. So this one is the exact same card, but with a different layout, right? Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bring in my paper cutter. This paper here that I'm using for this card is this paper here. So it's got a multiple different color shells. Is it multicolored shells that come in different colors? So navy, some gray granite, very, very similar to crumb cake. This is mint macaron and balmy blue. And the other side has this, that. I don't even know how to describe it, just that, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing. The paper is cut at the same size as the previous paper that I used. And I'm just going to cut it at 2 inches. Yeah, it must go in this direction. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this at 2 inches. Get that out of the way. All right, so this basically is what the card is going to be, but we can switch it around. Let me show you this way. Actually, let me do it this way, because I did another one that's the opposite, and that way you can get a sense of the opposite, because neither one is going to be, with beautiful paper like this, neither one is going to be bad, right? Okay, so let me adhere this down. This is on Night of Navy, which is a color that is in the designer series paper. As I mentioned before, Stampin' Up! Will tell you on the back of their paper what colors from their collection of colors, what colors are in the paper, which is really handy. It's handy for a lot of things. For the card you're actually working on, for picking out clothes in the morning, but for coming up with other color combinations, you know if it matched here, it's going to match in a different card as well. All right, and the interesting thing is, these two colors I'm not really a fan of. Mint macaron and balmy blue are colors that I don't always enjoy, if I'm being honest. So I love them here, and it's forcing me to use them, which I'm actually happy about. All right, so what I'm going to do with this is that I was going to use a different word that's on this. And the word that I was going... Oh, actually, well, let me tell you why. Why? Rewind. It's not a word from this stamp set. It's a word from this stamp set. This is called Sending Support, and it's a Cling Set Celebration stamp set, which means you can get it free with a $50 purchase in the United States. It is still available, and Celebration is only half over. It goes through the end of February, technically. There are less days in February, so I guess it's just half over. But we still have another month is the point. So if you are interested, you can get this. I don't want you to overlook this stamp set because it's a fantastic set with words that... they're hard things to say to people, and so it's nice if there's a stamp set that says it. Some days are harder than others. Hope today is one of the easier ones. Sending loving thoughts and prayers. There's so many ways to feel right now. Alone shouldn't be one of them. Here for you. Good luck. It's okay not to feel okay. You've got this. My shoulder is yours. And courage is being really scared and doing it anyway. So I wanted to use this stamp set. But it's a little bit of a challenge because I'm going to do the same thing. I'm using it on a tiny little 3/4 inch strip, right? So that's my practice one. You know, one actually worked. Okay, so I'm using my Stamparatus to do this. And let me show you the way that I'm going to use it. You can see some of my favorite stamp sets here. So let me flip this over. If you don't own a Stamparatus, Celebration is an excellent time to get it. It's a little bit pricier of a tool, but it's super, super duper handy. And it is, I heard recently that it was actually designed for people with arthritis. But what's really terrific about it is there are lots of different things you can do with it, like placing your word exactly where you need it. So it comes with 2 magnets. I'm going to put 1 magnet on. The bottom of this is magnetic, right? So I've just got a little bit of layer of fun foam. I like to put fun foam on it. That's the little craft foam that you get at wherever you get it, everywhere, really. And then just a piece of paper, which is where I'm going to do my stamp to make sure it's in the right place. I'm going to put this magnet down. You can hear that. It's a serious magnet. It's going to hold it right where you need it. And then I'm going to ink up my stamp. So I put my stamp onto this clear plate. It sticks right to the plate. I'm going to ink it up, and I'm going to stamp it right. Whoops, I'm going to move my magnet and stamp it right there. Okay, so now that I know where that is, my my 3/4 inch piece of cardstock is going. I'm going to put it right over it, so I can tell. This is not straight. Here, let me show you. This is not straight, right? It wasn't. It's not on the board straight, is what I mean, because this here is not straight. You can see that line that goes right through it. Rather than really working hard at that, what I'm going to do is just put my paper right down over it. Then I'm going to take my magnet. Let me see how close I am to the end. Let's move it over a smidge. Put my magnet right there. It comes with 2 magnets. You want to keep them apart. If you don't, you will have 4 magnets. They do snap and break. It's not bad, but now you've got 4 magnets if you do that. Okay, let me just scooch this little guy here. And push this down like so. Cross my fingers. La. Okay, here it is. Courage is being really scared and doing it anyway. It's actually, I kind of cut off the little top there a little bit. But through the magic of television, I've got a straight one anyway. So I'm going to do that. But that would be how you could get an image straight. That would be a way to do it. Okay, so let me see. I'm going to bring in my sand image one more time, and my Sahara sand. And I'm going to do the same thing, decaf, which means stamp off. And this is going to give some light sand, like on a beach. You could use, there's actually a stamp in this set that has sand as well as shells, but I'm just doing that just to kind of make it a little bit, you know, not quite so stark. Okay. This is going to go on a piece of Night of Navy. It's the exact same measurements as I gave you for the first card. So this is 7/8 of an inch by 3 7/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to put it right along the bottom here, like that. So I picked this for this card because I did an opposite card. So I wanted you to see that in a minute. I'll show you the finished look with the opposite card. Okay, now, so that's the basic layout of the card. And that actually, honestly, would be okay unto itself, right? But we're going to zhuzh it up just a little bit. So the paper that I'm using here is 5.5 by 5.5 by 8.5, and it is folded right in half, so it's folded at 4 1/4 inches. And this is going to go on like that. Give it a nice kind of I don't know, kind of naturally look with the Sahara sand in the background. So that's going to go on like that. Okay, now, I previously cut out some of the dies that are in this stamp set. There's some really cool dies in this stamp set, but this one right here doesn't actually match a stamp. It's kind of a die unto itself. And I want to show you how pretty this comes out. And you can help me pick the colors. I'll let you help pick something. How's that? Okay, so let me pull out the die and show you. So here is what it looks like. So it's got dimension to it here. If you ran it through the embossing folder by, if you ran it through, actually, I did not do this, but you could kind of sponge some ink onto here to give it a little bit more dimension. I'm not going to do that right now, but maybe I'll do that in a future video to give it a little bit more dimension than it's actually got here, or use a sponge on it. Maybe I could do that because I actually have a sponge. I'll do that. I have a sponge. So let me know which color you would like me to use. This is the Mint Macaron. As I have mentioned, not my favorite color, but I kind of like how it looks. I appreciate Stampin' Up making the color and making me kind of like it. Or we could use the gray granite. So give me your opinion. Let me know which you think you prefer. While you're doing that, I'm going to sponge this little guy up. And I'm going to sponge both of them. So I'm going to use a sponge. I've just cut a sponge and then used a little clippy to keep my hands, well, clean would be too big a word, but less messy. All right, Barbara said mint macaron. Barbara, you got it. Okay, so let me pull in the mint. And I'm just, again, I am going to sponge. I'm using Sahara sand to sponge, even though it's a mint macaron. Because it just gives it a little bit more of a, you know, authentic look. All right, so that's going to go right on here. But before I do that, let me pull out some other things we can add. So these dies, they give you lots of different things. So we get a little seagrass here. I'm definitely going to add some seagrass. So I did that in mint. And I am going to sponge that up a little bit. And then we've got these little, what do you call these? Little scallop shells. So you get 2 of this size to cut out, and then these 2 cut out automatically that size. So because I'm using this in green or mint, I'm going to pull out, let's see, how about, let me see, yeah, blue? No, baby blue and a medium Sahara. And then I'm going to do my little seagrass as well. So I'm going to just sponge all of this. Again, same color. I'm just using my, this is a Sahara sand, and I'm just sponging right over it. You could also use a blending brush with this. That would be a really cool look as well. I'm just not. But you certainly could. That would give it, it's another way that you can color things in. And I'm just going to enhance the edges a little bit by sponging that. And the same thing with the blue. Actually, I think I like the blue like this. I think that the regular balmy blue is a little too bright for me, so I kind of like it like this. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to put some of my seagrass in the back. So let's use some green glue for that. I'm just going to use it at the bottom. I'm not worried about the top because we know seagrass should be flexible, right? And then this one here, I'm going to put in the front. So I'm going to put it just a little bit, kind of like it's, you know, like seagrassy. So I am going to use a baby dimensional and just stick that right on the back of this, because I'm going to cover the whole thing up back here, so I'm not worried what that looks like. That ugly dimensional showing through there is not going to be a problem for me, because I'm going to put a seashell right on top over here. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to glue part of it, and then I'm going to put a dimensional So it's going to basically go there. So the height of all of that is the same. If that doesn't make sense to you, ignore that. If you're ever making it, it will make sense to you. But just so that this is all sort of at the same height. And then I'm going to put this little guy right over here. Oh, I might need to move you up a smidge. There we go. All right, I'm going to put this guy, we'll put him in big dimensionals, like this, right there. And then this little guy, I'm just going to use some green glue, so he's not going to have dimension to him. But since everything else has dimension, it kind of is dimension. It's just a flatter dimension. And I kind of like when things go off the edge. That's my kind of look. If it's not for you, make sure it's not off the edge. Now, the piece de resistance. Actually, I have no idea how you really say that. Took French for 4 years. They didn't teach us that. But I can ask where the library is. Okay, let me show you what I'm working with here. Okay, these are the flat adhesive backed pearls that you will find in the catalog on the same page as this. They are stunning. Oh my gosh, they're so pretty. So I'm going to use one of these, and they're all kind of a little bit different. I guess they're not really all different, but they look like their shape is not uniform, which really brings me joy. So I'm going to put that right inside. Oh, so here is the card, right? You get it in the mail, and you're like, oh, that is pretty, and what a nice saying. And then you see that, and you're like, whoa. Whoa, I can do hard things, because whatever you're doing must be hard. Okay, now on the inside of the card, I'm going to show you another finished card. No, I'll actually do it. So the inside of the card, because this is kind of like cardstock, you wouldn't necessarily have to put any paper on the inside. But because I've got some white here, I like to bring that in again on the front. I feel like it just kind of, I don't know, completes it, finishes it, makes it feel right to me. Okay, so for this, I'm going to use, these are the shells that I told you about that I could have used on the front. And I'm just going to kind of fill these in here. Okay, and of course you'd want to do that on your envelope, because we don't want naked envelopes, especially when we've got pretty stamps available. All right, so this is going to go on the inside. It's very hard to do with this green glue, right? I love green glue. It's easy to use, and it's super sticky, and it gives you time to think. I love time to think. Okay. Done. Now, this is just sort of a, just an idea that I'm going to recommend to you, but it's really fun to put something on the back of your card. So I'm going to take the crab, because it's one of my favorite stamps in this stamp set, believe it or not. So I'm going to take the crab, and I'm going to put this on the back of the card. If you do not have a personalized stamp, people definitely want to know, they know it's a homemade card. So I would definitely take credit for it. So you just put whatever, something from the image. You could use a little shell, but I really like the crab on the back. And then I would just initial it and date it. And if you've missed somebody's birthday, I'm talking to you, Debbie Fitzgerald. If you've missed somebody's birthday, you could totally backdate it. No one would judge you. Right? Okay, so let me bring in all of the cards from tonight. Oh, because I told you I had an opposite card. I had an opposite card. So here's the opposite card of that. This one here, oh, see? Now that I added all this other stuff, this one here is only ordinary. So I used these pieces, but I did not sponge them, and I did not use the seagrass in the background. So it's the same stamps, the same stamps, the same paper, but opposite. I think we would all agree. The sponging made a big difference, as well as did the seagrass. And I kind of like the shells on the top as opposed to the bottom, I think. That's what I think. Okay, so those were that card there. And then the first card that we did here, two opposite cards with my, I forgot the name of the bird already. But it's like a plover. Anyway, it's like a pullover, and it's got Berg in the name. Sandberg? Sandberg. I think you said that. I think it was Sandberg. Okay, so these were all made with the By the Bay suite, which can be found. Oh, where is it? Where is it? Right here in your catalog on page 22, the By the Bay Suite Collection. I am featuring a class in a couple of weeks, and the deadline to sign up will be by the 10th of February. And we will be using this stamp set and these dies here, as well as this beautiful paper and these gorgeous pearls. So stay tuned for information on that. If you were interested in attending that class, let me know, and I absolutely will get you the information that you need for that. All right, let me turn this around. All right, so that is it. Tuesday night, it's January the 30th. Did I mention it's January the 31st? It's January the 31st. Time to start thinking about the beach. When isn't it time to start thinking about the beach, right? In any case, I wanted you to know about that set, because if you are interested in it, you want to take advantage so that you can take advantage of Celebrations. The celebration is happening now until the end of February. There's, I don't know, there may be new things coming. It's kind of a, yeah, there may be new things coming, so stay tuned for information tomorrow. I can not confirm that, but rumor has it. Stay tuned. But in any case, the Celebration catalog does have this great stamp set sending support, which is a really, really nice one to have in your stash. You will keep it for years, and you will use it when you need it. Because you will need it at some point, right? So there's that, and I would love for you to be able to get that free. So if you're interested in anything that you saw today, please be in touch with me if I am your demonstrator. Be in touch with your demonstrator if I'm not your demonstrator. She or he will absolutely take care of you. Don't miss out on getting stuff for free. That's all I can say. We should never miss out on getting stuff for free. So you've got another month, but as things sell out, they will not be replaced. So make sure that you act sooner rather than later. There are some gorgeous papers that you will also want to see. So please go to the website, go to my website or to your demonstrator's website to find the paper that's on there, because that seems like something that sells out even quicker than stamp sets. So if there's anything there you want, you definitely want to grab that sooner rather than later. Okay, that's it for tonight. As I said, go to my website if I can help you out in any way at all, bettyboop.stampinup.net. I will see you next. I will not see you next Tuesday night. I'm hoping to be on Monday night, but I cannot guarantee. But if you get notifications that I will be on, then you will be able to see it live. And if you can't see it live, you can always watch the replay of it. All right, thanks again, guys. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you helping me design the card. And I wish you a great beginning of February. Take care. Bye-bye.